Want to weigh in on this?
Let Justina go first.
I'm unmuting you, Justina. Hang on. Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry about that. Having reviewed the Shellfish Constable's documentation, I think she lays out a clear case. It's difficult for her department. And I know from work I've done in the past, the seasonal permits aren't as much as the rest of ours, but they are going to have the rest of the permits sold. But they'll pose disproportionate headache on Nancy's department, and I'm not in agreement that we will have a slowed down summer. We might not. We're supposed to have record heat. So I think that for the reasons laid out in Nancy's documentation, that it's going to be difficult for her department to enforce. Some years it's a COVID year, people won't be able to get a permit, shellfish permit, they're going to have to deal with that.
Thank you. So I would say that I always like to support our shellfish constable and all the other department heads. I know that she's put a lot of thought into this. Are we ready for a motion?
May I add one more point, please?
Of course.
Yeah. The thing that hasn't been raised is when there's enforcement on the flats and recreation, I agree with Kathleen, it's a nice thing to do, but right now, this summer, we have to protect people. We have to keep things safe. And enforcement of people, recreational fishers, shellfishing people that have those permits, requires staff to get up close and personal in a way. And I just don't want to add to the fact that they have to patrol for Vibrio any
Hey, Courtney, it's Mike Hurley.
How's it going, Chief?
Good. A few things this morning. Under my section, I'm just going to have a few of the volunteers jump on about the warm line that they're doing on their own. It's not town connected.
Okay.
And do you know if like Nancy or anybody from the library is jumping on today?
Jennifer is on already, and I don't know about Nancy, but she might jump on. But if not, I can make an announcement for about the seasonal shellfish permits.
Okay, thanks. I have 10 a.m. Courtney. Whenever we're ready, we can start.
All right, go ahead.
All right, great. Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to today, Tuesday, June the 9th, Select Board Emergency Management Team meeting with the Select Board on COVID-19 updates. Mike Hurley, your police chief this morning, and my co-host on Hollywood Squares, the fire chief. Any comments? You good?
Good morning. I'm good.
All righty.
Thank you.
So we'll get going this morning. We usually try to keep it right around an hour, hopefully, and we'll go down our usual agenda that we have this morning. So, Hillary, good morning.
Good morning. I'm just trying to get my video on here. Ah, there we go. Good morning. I actually don't have anything in particular to report today. I'm here to answer questions. Just as a reminder, phase 2 has started. We're fielding a lot of questions from our business community, restaurants, lodging, retail stores. We did hold a Q&A session last week with the chambers, and we got a lot of good questions there. We're going to probably continue to offer that every once in a while, just to make sure folks have a venue to ask and answer questions that's different from this. And I think with that, I'll hold tight and just field questions.
Okay, great. Thanks. I appreciate it. Out of Cape Health, Courtney, do you see them on the line this morning?
Yes, Lisa Kane is on.
Good morning, Lisa.
Hi, I'm here.
How you doing? Just to know if you had a quick update for the community.
Again, as last time here, we're pretty much status quo here at Outer Cape Health Services. We're continuing to do our drive-up COVID testing at the Wellfleet Health Center daily. the numbers of people who are getting tested changes. Mondays seem to be very busy days. We, I think, did 17 or 18 tests yesterday. I would say there are increasing numbers of people who are requesting the COVID test because they have had exposure to someone who has tested positive. So it's, I think, a part of the contact tracing efforts that we're seeing. And also, as you would expect, we are seeing more folks from out of state who are here at their summer homes. And I'm sure that in the coming days and weeks, we'll be seeing more people who are coming to take advantage of the ability for hotels and inns to reopen. But we have not seen positive test results in our communities in a little while. I don't know whether anyone who was tested yesterday has come up positive yet, but we've not been seeing a lot of symptomatic people requesting testing, I think is the distinction that I'm making, is that it's more people who have a concern about a contact with someone who is presumed positive or tested positive. So that feels a little bit different to us. We've been adapting quickly to the phase 1 and phase 2 changes that the Department of Health and Human Services have put in place. So slowly we are changing the guidelines for patients that can be seen in person in our health center to meet those expectations from the state. And so far, I think everything's going well. We're continuing to limit and restrict really to almost no one in the actual waiting room, so that people are continuing to wait in their cars or being brought straight back into an exam room. So again, steady as she goes. I think all is well. I'm happy to take any questions.
Great, thank you. And just a quick question from me, as we have the public on here and this is recorded. Would you be able just to state the hours that testing is available in Wellfleet, or the days or hours?
Yes, right now testing is available Monday through Friday from 1:30 to 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And people we are screening everyone who's requesting a test and scheduling them for a telemedicine visit with one of our providers before the test is actually ordered.
Okay, great.
Go ahead.
We do have 2 questions.
Great.
We do have 2 questions. It looks like Kathleen and Helen Miranda Wilson. So Helen, would you like to go first?
Sure. Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay, 2 questions, one of which I know, but so many people have asked me that I'm going to ask Hillary about this. So what is the relationship between the quarantine that is still in place? And I believe it's not a mandate, it's a guideline, but perhaps you could clarify that. What is the relationship between that and the rentals, where somebody may be renting for a week, depending on what the select board decides tonight, and they're supposed to be quarantined for 2 weeks. Do you have any thoughts about that or information? And then I've got a question for the Outer Cape Health sector.
So the quarantine is not a requirement, it's guidance. And in the sector-specific documents from the state, under the lodging piece, it does say that the folks, when they're taking in reservations, are supposed to alert people to that.
Thank you. And here's my question for Outer Cape. So you mentioned not getting any positive tests. Was it yesterday or last week? And I'm sorry, I am listening, but I didn't quite retain that when you said it. And then the next thing that I'm bringing up, because there was a query that came through to the select board, question, email. You very carefully, and thank you for doing that last time, made the distinction between getting a test for COVID-19 and getting a test for the antibodies. And I thought that you were very clear about the fact that Outer Cape Health doesn't do that, that I believe Quest Diagnostics does that. And that's, it's a whole other thing. So is that still the case? And so I'm asking you about numbers of tests that you've actually done, if you have that off the top of your head.
I don't have the exact numbers of tests that we've done and the number of positives. I'd have to get the latest information from yesterday, and I'd be happy to email that information to Courtney if that would be helpful. I don't know that I'll be able to get it during this call, but I'll try. I'll send an email. But I know that the number of, so that you're right, there's a distinction between the two types of tests. One test is a nasopharyngeal swab, where a swab is put up through the nose to very far back in the back of your throat. And that is sent off and to Quest Diagnostics to attempt to detect the virus through the secretions in the back of your throat. So that would indicate whether or not you were, potentially could indicate whether or not you were having an active infection from the COVID virus, the coronavirus that we're experiencing. The other type of test is a blood test that is designed to detect antibodies in the blood that might indicate whether your body had ever mounted an immune response to this particular virus. Quest Diagnostics is allowing patients to self-refer for that blood test to detect antibodies to the virus. Most of our providers are not recommending that people have that blood test, as I think I mentioned last time, because we still are not clear on what exactly that means. If you test positive for antibodies, it indicates that your body mounted an immune response to this virus, but it doesn't tell us more than that. It doesn't tell us whether or not you have any protection or any immunity to the virus. So healthcare professionals, I think, in general, in the state and even in the country, are still remaining skeptical about the value of that blood test. But patients are able to self-refer to Quest Diagnostics and have the lab drawn and get the results themselves.
Thank you. We have 68 participants this morning, and that's the kind of information that it's good to put out. Thank you for going over that again.
Absolutely.
So Kathleen Bacon is next, and then I have a couple from the chat, Lisa.
Sure.
Good morning, everybody. It's Kathleen Bacon. Good morning, Lisa. Thank you for being here. I just have two quick questions. First, going back to your report on what I see as an uptick in testing for whatever reasons to be determined later on. And if this is the start of it with regard to more people coming here, do you have enough tests to do this going forward?
Yes, we do. Quest Diagnostics has been great about keeping us well supplied.
Good. And I'm assuming now, 2 months ago, whatever that system was in place was all new to you over there in the parking area. Mm-hmm. But now I'm sure it's, it's quite an operation. And in part now, are you able to see more patients not COVID related in the Outer Cape building?
Yes. The state phasing has offered very clear guidance as to the types of visits that we're allowed to have in person as opposed to by telemedicine, either over the phone or over video conferencing. And so phase one was fairly restrictive in terms of not allowing for preventive visits, well visits, and trying to really avoid having patients in the building unless their condition could be made worse by not having an in-person visit. Phase two has lifted some of the restrictions on preventive visits in particular. Phase 1 allowed for well child visits, but really said no adult wellness visits, annual physicals, things like that. Phase 2 loosens that so that now adults can have wellness visits, but still encourages providers all across the state, not just us, to lean preferentially toward telemedicine visits to maintain the safety of patients and just limit the number of people that we're bringing into the building. And there are also strict guidelines on your maximum allowed capacity and what percentage of the building's capacity you're allowed to have in the building at one time. So we are able to see more people in person now, but the guidance is to remain cautious. And so that's the approach that we're taking, and prioritizing conditions that might worsen if an in-person isn't conducted.
Again, thank you. I want to reiterate what Helen said earlier. Having that information this morning from you go out to our greater public and community. Many thanks. Thank you for all the work you're doing.
Thank you so much. Happy to be here. Happy to help.
So Emily, there's an Emily on the line who would like to ask a question. Go ahead, Emily.
Yeah. I'm wondering why the kind of screening you're doing is being done in terms of arranging for a telemed appointment, which then requests somebody to either state that they have symptoms or they know they've been in contact with someone. And I feel like other towns are testing anyone who wants to be tested. And I'm worried that the requirements create more danger. Many people are just simply, especially people here for a short time, are not going to, make an appointment, wait for the appointment, it's not going to happen. So, whereas I think if we welcomed anybody who wanted to be tested, it would be a lot safer for all of us. And that's what other towns are doing. It doesn't matter what state you're from, anyone. They're just testing anyone who's actually willing to show up and be tested.
In Massachusetts, the Department of Public Health has issued guidelines regarding who should be tested. And over time, that guidance has eased somewhat, so that now the latest guidance from the Department of Public Health says that people, even those with mild symptoms, should be tested. They're not at this point necessary. So people with even mild symptoms should be tested, and people who have known exposure to someone who is positive or presumed positive. So the issue of scheduling a telemedicine visit here at Outer Cape Health Services is really a sort of a chain of custody question, so that we can have a provider who actually has to order the lab, and then there's a chain of custody so that someone receives the results of that test and is able to appropriately follow up with that patient and make sure that they're getting the best care. So it's not at all intended to be a barrier to care, and most often those appointments are available same day, so that we actually have very good access. And so it's really a clinical workflow that's really essential to make sure that not only are we offering testing to people who want it and need it, but that there's appropriate follow-up for them after the fact.
The next question is, Helen has one more, and then that's all that I'm seeing. So
okay.
Thank you. Sorry to come in with another question, but it was brought up by the last change. It's commonly known now, you can have no symptoms, and you might not even know if you've been exposed to someone who is tested positive or has symptoms. But is there any signs now, and this is to either Hillary or anybody, about how much of a viral load you need in order to have a test register positive. Because if you don't have enough of a viral load for the test to pick up on it, you could be on your way to having one, on your way to being sick, or at least asymptomatically contagious. And is there anything that's known about that? How far along do you have to be pre-symptom in order to have a test register positive? That's my question. Thank you.
Hillary, I don't personally know the answer to that question. I think it's a very good question, and I understand why the concern is there. I don't know the answer to what sort of viral load you need. I know that there is some concern that people may be asymptomatic for 2 to 3 days and still able to shed enough virus to get other people around them ill. So that's sort of the asymptomatic person. And I think that speaks to why our physical distancing and mask wearing is so essential in reducing transmission of this virus, is because you may not realize that you are already able to pass the virus along to someone else. And even if you got tested every single day, if it takes a day to 2 to 3 days to get the results, getting a test today doesn't necessarily mean that that you can relax those guidelines of physical distancing, mask wearing, hand washing. And I think that the relatively low number of cases in our area on the Outer Cape, I think speaks to how well people have been following those guidelines. And I think that tests or no tests, it's important for everyone to continue doing that.
Okay, thank you, Lisa. I'm not seeing any more questions here right now.
I'll try to get the numbers, our testing numbers, and see if I can contribute that information at some point during the call.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Courtney. Thanks, Lisa. And we'll circle back at the end to see if you have that information. And just anybody that may be for the first time joining on one of these this morning, since the end of March, we have been providing these to the community on a weekly update. And Outer Cape Health Services is a local health organization in our area. There is also Cape Cod Healthcare run through the hospitals that also has testing sites and testing capabilities. So I just want to put that out there too, that they're our local partner who's been helping on these calls to relay some information. DPW, Jay Norton, good morning. You there, Jay?
Here we go.
How you doing?
Hey, everybody. Hey, Chief. Thank you. There isn't much new to report from a COVID-19 perspective, so I'll be brief. Most importantly, our staff remains healthy and continues to provide full services to the town. Our sign shop has been very busy, making various signs for the beaches, recreation, and shellfish departments. We've probably made, 50 or more signs in addition to our normal sign making duties due to this COVID-19 pandemic. So it's a very well greased machine right now. Facilities and Grounds Division is in full maintenance mode with maintaining town grounds and cemeteries. They're also busy assisting other departments in their preparations for the phased reopening of various services to the public. The Highway Department is also assisting the Shellfish Department with their Culch program, basically on a daily basis. So that's been going really well. They're also, they in addition to the facilities departments, in full maintenance mode with sweeping town roads and mowing roadsides. That department also assisted the Recreation Department with the foundation preparation for the new pavilion at Bakersfield. So thanks to Kevin McCarthy, Highway Foreman, for facilitating that and for his efforts there. And then lastly, the transfer station, as most of you are probably aware, we're in full operations there with the exception to the swap shop. The single stream recycling has gone really well. We hosted the 2020 Household Hazardous Waste Day this past Saturday, and that was a success. So that was great. And the staff's doing a great job up there, keeping everybody safe, and for all their creative efforts for maintaining the social distancing and setting up the facility to abide by all the guidelines. So other than that, that's all I have to say.
Great. Thanks, Jay. I appreciate it. And I know on our end from the police department, Department of Public Works helps with our building, which is a 24/7 facility. So a big shout out to Chris Parker and your crew with also keeping us safe and clean over here.
Our pleasure. Thank you, Chief.
Great. Thanks, Jay. Community services. I'll start with Suzanne.
Good morning.
Morning.
Community services, I guess the most active area right now is the beach sticker office, and we are currently selling stickers online only to residents and non-resident taxpayers. The select board will have a discussion this evening on opening up the visitor sticker sales, and I hope to be able to report on that. And because a lot of people are looking for their Wellfleet summer to happen, we are trying to craft signs, as to echo Jay, that actually help people learn the information they need to learn and direct them in the right way without making so many signs that they stop reading them. So that's a challenge. Sign balance is a challenge right now. Trying to think. Surf rescue, which is the lifeguard training, which traditionally happens in person at the fire station, will happen this weekend, but it's going to be on Zoom. And thank you to Chief Polly and his staff for working in close concert with my lifeguard team that is in charge of the training and putting on the surf rescue school. There are new precautions about oxygen use on the beach this summer. There are precautions about what kind of PPEs the lifeguards need to have. There are also guidelines and mandates for spacing on the beach. Beach goers need to be 12 feet apart from their closest friends. Not their friends. The party if you did not come with the people, you need to be 12 feet from them on the beach and observe social distancing. Wear your mask while you travel between your blanket and down the beach or up into the parking lot to use the restrooms or go to the vendor. You do not need to be masked while you are with your party on the beach, and you are not expected to be masked while you go into the water, which shouldn't have to be stated, but people have been asking that. So we're looking forward to our lifeguards being on the beaches as of June 20th. And I hope the weather cooperates, because I think everybody needs a nice day at the beach. At the senior center, we are beginning to open the building up to one-on-one appointments. The two activities right now that will begin this week and next are the podiatrist, who has a backlog of people who really need to see him, and he will be seeing people one-on-one. There'll be no waiting in the waiting room, as at Outer Cape Health. Everybody will wait in their car for their appointment. And also the AARP tax volunteers will be scheduling appointments. They use our facilities, but they do need, and they understand that they're also following the guidelines. So we have purchased plexiglass barriers to sit on the table between the volunteer and the person who's having the taxes done. And it'll be one person at a time per volunteer. We are not currently using the big room, so we probably could put up 2 or 3 volunteers across the room and still have adequate social distancing. So we will be working on that as well. We continue to do food distribution every Friday. Food is cooked by Marianne Lucas, who is our chef at the senior center, and packaged and delivered by volunteers. And a special thanks go out to our COA liaisons, Emily Miller, who is a dispatcher for the PD, and Sergeant Mike Turner, who has, despite obstacles, managed to deliver all his meals each week. The obstacles are created by the people doing the dispatching. So that's about it. I will leave recreation to Becky because that's very busy. And in phase 2, she is allowed to reopen some of her facilities. So that is my report for today.
Great. Thanks, Suzanne. And Becky, I see you on the line here. I'll pass it on to you for recreation and phase 2.
Thank you, Chief. Good morning, everybody. I do have a lot to report today, some updates. After careful considerations of the governor's guidelines for reopening recreation facilities and stipulations for summer and directions from the Wellfleet Board of Health, a decision has been made that Wellfleet Rec programming will be able to operate using a combination of virtual and some live programming under phase 2 of reopening, with the ability to adapt accordingly to the easing of restrictions in future phases when they occur. Although it was determined that the swim lessons at Gull Pond would have to be canceled, the morning rec program can take place utilizing virtual activities and some live group activities at Bakersfield. A schedule will be available on the town's website very soon. The Music at Mayo concert schedule will be held virtually during phase 2 of reopening. In order to provide the best possible sound quality for the bands, the department is utilizing a nearby media center at which bands will live stream their performances over the Facebook Live and Google Meet platforms. In addition, a recorded version of the concerts will be shown on Comcast's public access channel. We are happy to still be able to offer these popular shows to the community, not to mention supporting the many talented local musicians that are part of the Music at Mayo concert series. The weekly square dance will also be held virtually. Extensive planning is underway to open the Bakersfield Recreational Facility safely following the guidelines just issued by the governor. The department will record a PSA shortly informing the public of what to expect when visiting Bakersfield. A huge thank you to Mark, Peter, and Jay of the DPW for working diligently with us to ensure the playgrounds, ball fields, courts will be as welcoming, safe, and fun as possible. We cannot wait for families to once again be able to visit us at Bakersfield. I want to give a huge shout out to everyone that made last Friday's celebratory graduation caravan for the Wellfleet High School seniors so special. The generosity of many local businesses that donated to the gift bags received by each graduate, as well as the spirited participation of so many, including Wellfleet Police and fire departments, truly made them feel special and recognized for achieving this important milestone. The support of the Wellfleet community never ceases to exhibit in these situations, makes me very proud to live and work in the town. So thank you very much. It was a huge logistical endeavor to make this happen, and Wellfleet Police and Fire were right there helping us. So we really appreciate that, and hoping to get more information on details about reopening Bakersfield very soon. So that's all I have for now, Chief. Thank you very much.
Great. Thanks, Becky. Thanks, Becky. I appreciate it. And again, thank you for inviting us Friday. Again, it was another event that, through all this stress and everything going on, that, some smiles on the faces of our seniors. And I have one myself at home. So I appreciate the event you guys held. Also, for anybody on our website, there's a COVID-19 page. I know probably this morning you're getting a lot of information from different departments. Just to let you know, all this information is on the town's website, various social media sites, and obviously, please feel free to contact any of the departments direct via phone or email if you have further questions. Good morning, Chief Pauly, my co-host.
Good morning, Chief. Thank you. This is Rich Pauly, the fire chief. Just a few things briefly. We are starting to see the call volume tick up in the last week, certainly over the weekend. We had a very challenging water rescue on Lieutenant Island at high tide late last week, involving having to launch the boat. I'll just say that it became much more complicated than it needed to be because of one of the patients that we were dealing with, and I'll just leave it at that. But everything is good with that situation now. We continue to be down 2 full-time positions. We are currently taking applications and they're starting an interview process the end of next week. We'll see where that goes. We still have masks available for the public. Just stop in. We have them inside the building, and we'll provide a mask to anyone that so desires or needs one. As Suzanne Thomas mentioned, we're working with the lifeguard staff this year. We hold an annual training with them just before the season starts. Surf Rescue School is something that we enjoy doing and look forward to, and just solidifies our already excellent working relationship with the beach staff, particularly the lifeguards. Their safety and health is one of my primary concerns this summer, just because we're dealing with so much in the unknown of the situation. I'm confident our lifeguards will continue to show their professionalism and their compassion this summer. And again, we look forward to working with them. If you are not aware, we asked the select board to put together a streamlined process, if you will, for outdoor dining spaces. That was done a couple weeks ago. We're working on that. We currently have 6 applications, at least 5 of which will go in front of the select board tonight, I believe. That has gone relatively well for the most part. But our whole goal here is to streamline outdoor dining so it's both safe and healthy for the patrons of the establishments and the restaurant staff. So it's a simple process. Send an email to the town administration, briefly outlining your existing capacity, what you would do with the outdoor capacity. If we need to expand outdoor dining, provide a simple diagram showing seating, locations, whether there's a tent or not, and barriers for public safety. So that's going very well, and it's taking quite a bit of time up, but it's good work, and I'm very happy to be involved in that. The last thing I have is, again, in the last week, and we've talked about this before, Chief Hurley and I and others members of the emergency management team, about everyone's emotional well-being and mental health. Some of the calls that we are seeing, people are struggling, and that has become very apparent. So again, please reach out to each other using social media, social distancing, but please look out for your family and your friends and your coworkers, because we're starting to see some folks struggling, and we're here if you need us. And please, anyone that has any questions or thoughts, don't hesitate to call me. Thank you, Chief.
Great, Chief. Thank you. And that's actually a very nice segue this morning into our update here at the police department. You've probably seen over the past few months, along with our team, throwing out there any volunteers in our community who may be looking to help to just talk with some people that are struggling, and maybe we can get them in a direction of some help and assistance. And I'm happy to let you know that over the past month or so, I've been working with a local group that are very dedicated. They really want to help during these times. And I have one of them on our call this morning. And he's just going to give a quick update to what they're looking to do and what their hopes are, and if there are any other volunteers that could be out there that are looking to help. So is Mr. Cunningham on? Dennis, you on?
I am. Can you hear me now?
Yep. Good morning, Dennis. How you doing?
How you doing? Thanks, Chief.
Good.
So, I'll just read. I got a little letter that we have written that just will very briefly explain what we're trying to do. And so anyway, a few of us, and that includes myself, Dale Rowe, Kristen Shantz, Karen Friedman, and Susan Spear, are working on establishing a warm line or a listening line for folks to access during these trying times. We are all retired or active healthcare professionals, but have no intention for this to be a clinical model. We see it more as an empathetic ear. We were very interested in the Medical Reserve Corps in Provincetown, but their reach is only into Truro, and establishing ourselves as another branch proved to be really burdensome. Chief Hurley has been very supportive and sees a need. Interject here, as does Chief Pauly, obviously. The phone line in P-Town is not very active, but we think it's worth a try here in Wellfleet. We are also entertaining the possibility of a weekly group meeting via Zoom. We have tossed around the idea of a buddy system as well, where it's something like the police reassurance program, where we could make regular calls ourselves to people who would like to have a call. We decided to do this independently and not ask for any formal assistance from the town, as you all have enough on your hands. We would, however, like to ask you for any thoughts you may have, suggestions, etc. We don't want this to be a duplication, but we see the needs line that Suzanne has established as more of a place to go for information, and maybe we could be an adjunct to that services. We see ourselves as an ally to non-governmental organizations that are already providing services, for example, the Common Table and Preservation Hall. So thank you. And Chief Hurley has, since we don't yet have a phone line, we're looking into how to do that. Chief Hurley has agreed to take any emails, and he'll gladly forward them on to us in terms of questions you may have or suggestions. We're not, at this point, recruiting any more volunteers. Again, we're just in the very beginning stages of this, so we just wanted to let everybody know where we're at. Thank you.
Great, Dennis. I really appreciate that and coming on the line this morning. You know, and again, it's tough times right now, and as the fire chief just stated, and we're seeing on calls for service and people within the community, you know, just to have that somebody to talk to, and you know, as a community, we're all going to get through this, and I appreciate the group that's working on this. Again, as a town entity, we are overwhelmed, and now we have the summer coming up, so to have a local volunteer group, as in Provincetown, is awesome. So I really appreciate it. And I'd also like just to also mention, we have a licensed clinical social worker who is in town who has offered her services to first responders and public safety. And, you know, she wanted, it's all pro bono. And again, she has also reached out looking to help. And as you can imagine, the stress that our members are under, and we want to keep them healthy so that they are healthy for the community and the town. So I don't want to mention her name. She wanted to stay private and help, but I just wanted to put that out there this morning, that the response in the community has been overwhelming with the volunteers looking to help out. The third thing, just like the chief said, masks. I believe all of our town entities and buildings and police cars and everybody have masks. So if you need them, please reach out, call or stop by, and we will get you what you may need for masks. Great. Town administration is up next. And Courtney, did you have a quick announcement? And then we'll move on to Dan and Mike.
Yeah, so, hang on. I just wanted to say that this meeting is not only being live streamed on YouTube, but it is also being broadcast on Channel 18. So I want to put a big thank you out to Mia Baumgarten, who has done a lot of legwork to make sure that we can stream to Channel 18 as well as YouTube. So tonight's select board meeting will also be available on your TVs as well as YouTube and the Zoom login as well. And we're going to try and really work to get more boards and committee meetings up on the Channel 18 broadcast. So if you want to tune back into tonight's select board meeting at 7 p.m., you can watch it from your couch on your TV or the YouTube, and you should have full access to the meeting and be able to watch everything as it takes place. So thank you so much to Mia for getting that done.
Great. Thanks, Courtney. It sounds like soon me and the fire chief are going to need an agent here, I believe. We'll have to renegotiate our terms. Dan, are you on this morning?
You can, yes, I am, Chief. You can take that renegotiation to the new town administrator. I'm sure that they will be happy to hear from you.
Great, thank
you. Hillary, before I give my update, I see that you have your hand raised. Did you want to say something before I start?
It was completely unrelated to what anyone else had spoken about. I just wanted to let the public know that we are back open to taking and receiving water samples from the public. So the courier service from Barnstable County is back in business, picking up samples Tuesdays and Thursday mornings by 9:30. Thank you.
Thank you. Just a few updates. We are gradually starting to reopen some of the town offices. That would be Town Hall, Public Works, the Building Department, Health and Conservation. If you go under the town's website, under COVID-19 update, you'll see a staff directory there. Meeting with a staff department head or staff member is by appointment only. So give them a call and set up an appointment. Not everybody is working in the office every day, so please call ahead, make your appointment. You must be wearing a mask when you come in to visit with them. Portable restrooms. I just wanted to give a brief update on this. There's been some questions as to why we have portable restrooms. I don't think anybody's a huge fan of portable restrooms. At one point, the Department of Public Health for the state of Massachusetts was encouraging portable restrooms because they felt that they could be disinfected and cleaned easier. You can basically take a hose and just hose down the entire facility. Just recently, the Board of Health changed their mind in a sense and said you can do either. You can do the standalone or you can do the portable restrooms. The problem with when they released that information was we needed something available to go on July 1st, so we had to act on the information that they were saying that the portable restrooms were needed and recommended. So we had to send out an RFP for that to be able to get a contract in place in time for July the 1st. If we didn't do that, we would have to send out an RFP for cleaning services. So just because of the procurement process that we needed to go through, it made it difficult to switch from one decision to another at the last minute. So, and then not to get all sentimental on you, but I'm retiring within the next month or so. I would like to say thank you to the staff that you've heard from and the staff that you haven't heard from and the community. And I'd never wish this epidemic on anyone, but when I leave, it'll be with a smile on my face for how this community and how your town staff really stepped up. And a lot of times I just sit on these Zoom calls and I look at the staff in admiration for what they've accomplished, and I see what the community has, how they've stepped up, and it's really, really pretty cool, and that's what I will leave with. One last thought is that this emergency management team update meeting is the last one as a select board member for Select Board member Kathleen Bacon, and I would just like to thank her for her service. I'll get to do it again tonight, but on this call, I'd like to thank her for her service, and it has been a pleasure working with you. That's it from me.
Great, thanks, Dan. Mike Travato, I don't know if you're on this morning.
Yes, thanks, Chief. Yeah, I just wanted to mention that my office is open and available if anyone does need to meet with me, either virtually or in person. Feel free to contact my office for any needs you might have related to my duties. So that's all I have today, Chief. Thanks.
Great, thanks, Mike. I appreciate it. Select Board members, I'll just kind of go who I have on the screen here. Kathleen, any comments or questions this morning? I think you have to just get out. Yep.
Sorry.
There you are.
Good morning. I'm looking at my notes and not at the screen. I have a question to start with Jay Norton. Jay, are you there?
Yep, I'm here. Hi, Kathleen.
Good morning, Jay. With regard to signage, I'm assuming that the signs that you've made are going to be universal in appearance and that the message is cohesive. Am I correct in my thinking?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of material and color, yes. Obviously, some of the messages are a little different based on each department. and what they're requesting. Shellfish versus, beach might be a little different. But in terms of the overall appearance and the look, yes, they'll be pretty uniform.
And has the sign with regard to the walkway at the harbor gone up yet?
So we made the sign and we did deliver that to Will. I'm not sure if he has put it up yet or not, but it has been delivered to them for installation.
Right. And so while we're on that, I guess for fishermen and people that use the pier, this sign isn't asking you to walk in one direction to get your equipment or stuff to your boat. It's asking the people that use the harbor walkway for exercise. In addition to social distancing, we're trying to avoid people, passing one another because the walkway is only 4 feet wide. So I hope this isn't freaking anybody else out, especially our fishermen. Dan answered the Porta Potties question. We've had a lot of response from the public about Porta Potties. I'll just mention with regard to Porta Potties, only one person can go in them at a time. So that's also a safety or health concern versus our larger public rest areas. Those cement brick walls do not clean up well, and they would have to be completely disinfected or power washed from top to bottom several times a day. My next thing, I guess, Chief Hurley, it's come from a local restaurateur, Trudy Vermenen. If the town would consider a 2-hour parking limit at town and public parking areas, due to the fact that a lot of these restaurants now have extended into their parking, they're going to lose parking per se in lieu of having tables and service. Would the town or would the chief consider a 2-hour parking limit at Town Hall, the Town Landing, the Pier, Mayo Beach? Again, more signage, and I don't know how it gets enforced, but going forward, and I don't expect an answer today, maybe that's something that everyone could be thinking about. So again, as Dan mentioned, this is my last emergency management meeting. I can't say enough. I feel like everyone has rose to the occasion that we were all confronted with early on in March. I'd like to ask all department heads and town staff that any suggestions you have going forward to ensure public safety, bring them forward at this particular meeting for discussion. Public safety has to be the priority one for the town of Wellfleet going forward in this summer season with COVID-19. I also want to say thank you, everyone. It's hard for me to say this, but it's been a real honor. Thank you very much.
Great. Thanks, Kathleen. I appreciate it. As far as parking, I know on Main Street and Town Hall, we should have signage going up soon for 2-hour parking. And down at South Wellfleet General Store, that is 2-hour parking. However, other entities in town, especially the marina, I do not believe has any of that, but it's a discussion we can have with the board or the marina to see what their pleasure would be for that. So thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Thanks, Kathleen. Helen, good morning. How are you? Any comments? You're muted. Helen, you're muted.
There's so many.
Oh.
I am muted.
Nope, there you are. Go ahead. Courtney, I think she's muted.
Yeah. Helen, can you start?
Okay, Helen, go ahead. Start from the top.
Yes, there are different places to unmute oneself. Question, isn't it 2-hour parking in the summer at Town Hall anyway?
Yes, those are regulations that have already been put in place. Signs are already made up for that. That happens every summer already.
Every summer, right.
Yeah.
Okay. The other question is for Hillary. Hillary, are you still there? Hillary?
I'm right here. I'm here.
Thank you. Okay, sorry to lay this out. I thought about asking it and then decided not to, but now I think I really do need to know it before tonight. Think about it. The Board of Health is also going to weigh in on at least how to manage rentals, I believe. When is that meeting, and what is the Board of Health's authority to regulate the terms of a stay? Of course, cleaning protocol is included in that, but what I'm mainly interested in is it's unclear to me if the Board of Health can either recommend or mandate a length of stay.
So the Board of Health is holding a meeting Wednesday at 1:00 in the afternoon to talk about a rental registration program. We've had regulations posted on the town website for folks to view. We've received several letters in and interest from a lot of folks in the community to talk about it. So that meeting will be tomorrow at 1:00, and all are invited to come on to Zoom and participate. We will hear all comments and take it all into consideration. The Board of Health has made no decision at all thus far on when they're going to institute this rental registration program. So that's all open until after we hear public comments. So that being said, the Board of Health has not considered a length of stay requirement. They haven't even talked about it or contemplated it. So they have the authority to do that if they choose to. We haven't talked about it. There's been no consensus among the Board of Health that that's something that they want to do. And it's not on the agenda to even talk about tomorrow.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Helen. I see Janet on. Janet, I don't know if you have any comments this morning.
I do want to thank everyone for how we have come together to make this work. I think back to 6 weeks ago, maybe 7 weeks ago, where it was almost, it wasn't a panic because we're all very good, but just the unknown and how we're kind of coming out of all of it. And it really is thanks to everybody on this meeting and in the town. So thank you, guys.
Great. Thanks, Janet. And I do not believe I do not see Mike.
Mike and Justina are not on.
Okay, great. Thank you. Jennifer, good morning. Next time I'm going to get you to the top of the list, so you're always not at the end. But any updates this morning real quick?
I do. We started curbside delivery or pickup last week. It's very popular. People are really enjoying being able to get library materials. At the moment, the stateside delivery hasn't started yet, statewide delivery. So we're only able to give materials that are in the library, but soon it will start and people are still loving it. Just check out our website, wellfleetlibrary.org, to see the different ways that you can get materials. I also want to say that phase 2 does include libraries and light browsing, but our Mass Board of Library Commissioners, as well as my conversation with Hillary, do not recommend that we open libraries in any way right now. It's just not safe yet. And our Board of Trustees even sent a letter to the governor saying, you know, are you kidding me? Schools are closed. We can't have people wandering around the library. It just absolutely is not safe. So we are still closed to the public, and we're doing curbside pickup, and that's where we are right now. And we're just happy that we could serve patrons in this way. And it's just a really great service. So thank you.
Great. Thanks, Jennifer. And again, I appreciate you being on every week. I know the library is vital with the community and is connected. So I know at some point we'll be able to get open safely and get people back in. So thank you.
You bet.
Courtney, Nancy, I do not believe I see Nancy on the line. Any Shellfish updates?
The only Shellfish update is
You're muted, Courtney.
There are no recreational seasonal shellfish permits being sold. Season that was decided on May 26th by the Selectboard. I'm speaking for shellfish seasonal recreational permits are not being sold for 2020. Annual ones are being sold, and that information is online. And Lisa Kane has her update, Chief, when you're ready.
Great. Thanks, Courtney. Lisa, how you doing?
Hi, thanks so much. So far, as of 9 o'clock this morning, we have conducted 502 COVID tests at the Wellfleet Health Center. And the last positive test that we got through our testing efforts was on May 22nd. So it's been a couple of weeks since we've had anyone test positive through our testing efforts. And again, we're offering testing every day, 1:30 to 3. And if you call, and you'll be scheduled either with your provider if you're one of our active patients, or with a telemedicine visit with one of our providers if you are a visitor and not one of our regular patients. Thanks so much for the opportunity to share.
Great. Thank you, Lisa. I really appreciate that update. I think that's great for the community to hear and know. Courtney, any questions in the chat group?
Hey, Jamie.
I am not seeing any, and there's no hands raised.
Alrighty, well, if that's the case this morning, we're right at 1 hour. So I think I beat the fire chief's record of under an hour. Again, if anybody does have any questions, concerns, we do meet every Tuesday, whether it's as a select board or a team at 10 a.m. You can always reach out to department heads and via your phone or email, and we will get back to you ASAP with answers to those questions and concerns. Chief Pauly, any closing comments?
I do have one. I'm going to filibuster this meeting to make sure that you don't beat my record.
Okay, goodbye, Chief Pauly. Thank you for your participation.
I would like to just publicly thank Kathleen Bacon for her service to our community and her service on the select board. She's very passionate about this community and the people that she served. And I want to say thank you. She's been a big supporter of the public safety, two public safety departments. It is not gone unnoticed. And I just want to say thank you, Kathleen, and the best of luck to you in the future. And that's all I have, Chief.
Great. Thank you, Chief. And I will echo the same thing. I became chief back in November, and Kathleen has been an ardent supporter of our department, of myself. And again, we're all in this as a team, and it really makes my job a lot easier to have that support. So again, Kathleen, thank you for everything. I know my staff thanks you, and we wish you the best moving on. And I know I'll see you around town. So thank you. Alrighty, everybody, thank you again. And we will, a reminder, a select board meeting tonight, 7 p.m. And we will see you again next Tuesday. Thank you.